Let's Talk Mental Health podcast is sponsored by Torrance House Interiors East Kilbride. Concept by you, designed and managed by us. Bespoke luxury kitchens, bathrooms and room interiors. Contact us at info@torrancehouseinteriors.com or phone 07400 600 556.
Good evening and welcome to the Let's Talk Mental Health podcast, the weekly show where we lift the stigma associated with mental health. Tonight we are kindly joined by Hugh Mackay, who's a men's mental health advocate and a Scottish soldier. How are you guys? Brooke, how are you? Hugh, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How's yourself?
I'm great. Hugh?
Not too bad. Nervous as anything, but we'll get through it. That's what it's about.
That's it. We'll get through it. Okay, so again, we're here to lift the stigma associated with mental health. And Hugh, could you give us a wee bit of a background on you, and where you come from and your personal journey with mental health, please?
So I'm originally from the very north of the Highlands, and I'll touch on something in reference to that in a wee bit as well. Came from, like, my family's not like not the stereotypical, but like the dysfunctional kind of family. My sort of mental health kind of stuff is it's one of them where you don't know it's kind of like happening, but it was actually thanks to someone that noticed it in myself that got me to go and speak to somebody. That was early this year. But I sort of noticed it personally myself with just my upbringing and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm in the army, but nothing's really affected me from the army. It's more from my upbringing and stuff, and like stuff got brought up maybe about 2 years ago, around about Christmas time, that I never knew about, but I didn't know how to process it. And then that sort of made the sort of spiral on like the downhill spiral to where I am today, but it's obviously going back up the way now, hopefully. But yeah, so about 2 years ago, I tried to basically, once I got this news, I tried to basically walk into the North Sea. I was intoxicated, but it was pretty grim. Got up to just in between my knee and sort of waist sort of line, and I'm not the greatest of swimmers. I don't like swimming at all, so that's in my head. That was like the hardest, either the easiest or the hardest way to go. But yeah, so there's obviously everything in between that as well.
Yeah.
Joined the army at a young age. 16 I joined. I'm 29 now, so just about 13 years-ish I've been in the army. It's a love-hate relationship with the army. It's got ups and downs like everything does in life. But so a bit about myself, my growing up. So my mum was like a only parent. I think I've only ever met my biological father 4 times in my life. But and there was all stuff with like social work and stuff like that. But the first sort of main thing that I can remember that happened was I don't remember it happening, but it was when I was born. I'm actually was a twin, and my twin didn't make through the birth. But I never knew that until I was about 6. I was in the kitchen talking to my twin, and my mum came through and she says, "Who are you talking to?" "I'm talking to my brother Robert." Never been told about him, nothing, didn't know about him.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Then obviously, like, that's from such a young age. At that point you don't think about, definitely don't think about mental health and stuff like that. When I was about 9, I think my mum reintroduced herself to my stepfather, who's no longer with us. It was good. He taught me lots of stuff. Probably egged me on to get into the army, but there was a lot of like physical abuse. Even in the house that my mum stays in now, there's like still like holes in the door and stuff like that. That they work as like triggers, if you like, when I do go home, even now. And just kind of like the not poverty, but we're never like the richest family or the poorest family, but we got by, and it's the Highland. I believe it's the Highland mentality. We don't like to open up. We don't like anything like that, and I know like that's with like a lot of people everywhere is like that. But obviously, being from the Highlands myself, it's only really recently I've noticed it. Yeah, I had a lot of like activities in school. So I was in the Army Cadets. I remember doing Cubs, Scouts, Boys Brigade. I had my pipe band because I'm a bagpiper as well. That's part of my job in the army. But I think looking back now, I think a lot of it was I was trying to avoid going home. And like for little things, like when I had my friends around, the most prominent thing that I remember was, how you get like an electric strimmer for the grass.
Mm-hmm.
I rolled the cable up anti-clockwise instead of clockwise, and then I ended up getting, I think it was like a 3-foot spirit level, like over my neck in front of my in front of my friends and stuff like that, and stepfather, well, laying into me, if you like. But I joined the army pretty much as soon as I could. 15 and 9 months, I went into careers office. I passed all 3 of my standard grade exams that I passed, and because I'm not an academic at all, but I feel intelligent in other ways. But passed them in May. I was 16 in March. Passed them in May. Had my last cadet summer camp in the summer, and then in September 2007, I joined the army. And a couple of years now, I'm here talking to you, beautiful people.
Good, honest share.
Very inspiring.
I think it sounds like obviously you've been through real challenges from a very young age, and I think it's very interesting that you said there was a part of you that didn't want to go home, right?
Yeah.
Because I've been working with children now for the past 15 years, do a lot of work with adults and children, but I've worked a lot with children who experience that, and
Yeah.
they'll do anything to be out of the family home. And I think that's a real challenge. It's really difficult, isn't it, to be a child and not wanting to be at home?
Yeah, like when I was there's an incident that I managed as myself to speak to, I can't remember what you call them in school, but it's like kind of, she deals with like kind of social work and
guidance teacher.
Yeah, a guidance teacher. That's the one. And I brought myself at like 13 or 14 years old, and I went and spoke to her. And obviously, when you're in school as a teenager, like that's like whoa, and I've always because I moved. So I'm from Tongue originally, on the very north coast, but we moved when my mum met my stepdad. And the school, I remember the first day in primary 5 turning up, and the school didn't even know I was there. I just stood at the front of the classroom door, and one of the students had to go and get the teacher and says, "Oh, this guy says he's new and he's here." So instantly, as in the military, we use a word called white settlers, but I was an incomer to Dornoch, more or less, and through that, I don't fit in with a lot of peer groups. I'm a happy weirdo. I like being the way I am because I'm not, in my eyes, a sheep. And I'm like learning, especially with the current climate with COVID. I have actually found that the lockdown and COVID has actually been good for me, for my mental health. I was like locked away, if you like, well, we all were. And I was able to really, truly focus on myself and sort of be brave. And with the help that I had from a good friend that put me on to the doctors, because of that, is, like, what's the army, like, the way it's meant to work is that you get told to do something, you do it. So I was told, right, you've got an appointment booked and you're going to it. And then that was like my in my head, right, I have to do this. I've been told to do it by a senior person to me. So I just went into the med centre and just went to the nurse, I need help. And she's like, what do you mean? It's like, oh, with my mental health.
And it's really courageous to spend time on your own, right? Because so much people just see, to spend time on your own, you do need to do a lot of reflecting, a lot of looking at your behaviours, your actions, your choices. And a lot of people find that they'll just constantly spend time with other people, so they don't need to look at themselves. And I think it's quite interesting that you're saying that you're kind of happy on your own. I am too, so that resonates with me. Sometimes I feel as if I'm a bit eccentric, and people, I like to spend time alone as well. But I think that's really, it shows a lot of courage as well, because as I've said, a lot of people will spend time with everybody and anybody and do. And I think it's quite different to what you used to do. So you speak about when you were a child, you were filling your time not wanting to go home, and now there's a big part of you that enjoys being on your own.
Yeah, I truly do. Like, I find, you could say, like, I find more sense when I talk to myself inside my head. Like, I think about all these different things, and like I just find I'm more calm when I'm on my own. Like, I've said on some of my live videos that I like, even walking about the street or if I'm in a shopping mall or whatever, I'm like head down, kind of like avoiding looking at people. But in the same sense, if I'm sat stationary, I'm like, I know where my surroundings are, and I'm very hyper vigilant. Is it like I observe, even though I'm looking down, I observe everybody and everything, like possible threats or just what they're thinking. Yeah.
I get like that. See, like in big shopping malls, we've got the town centre here in East Kilbride, and I absolutely hate it. I hate it. I was down there today. I just like the vibe of the place, although I can be in, rooms of people and stuff like that, but, big places like that, I get a wee bit anxiety, it's quite hard for me. So I'm going to ask you, like, obviously you've been in the army. How are they with mental health? What's the kind of deal with that? How are they, how supportive are they when it comes to that?
So a lot of people, well, some people might disagree that may be watching this or watch it later, but a lot of, like, you see it on social media, there's all this, like, our veterans need help and all that, and like the government don't do enough. And personally, I don't think they do. Like in America, you've got the VA, which is like a complete hospital system for veterans. But it's like really overcrowded. But there's like, I feel like a lot of this stuff is when you're out the army, it's just relied on charities, which I think is quite wrong. Mainly, and but when you're in the army, because a lot of people's problems stem after they leave the army, and it's like if you're working in McDonald's and you leave McDonald's, then it's not like McDonald's is not problem anymore, but you're not their responsibility. You don't work for them. But in the army, they've got what's called the DCMH, which is the Department and Community of Mental Health. You've also got the what's it called? Oh, I can't remember what the name is. It's like another, like, there is different organisations, and you've got your, like, you've got your welfare in every unit, or you should have in most units. But a lot of, like, there is a big, like, I would say there's a stigma. It's getting better, but it's in the military. It's a lot more like, as we're talking about, like men's mental health. You do in normal civilian life have man up, be a man. But in the army, it's a little. I feel it's a little bit more. You get like.
And what a horrendous statement, isn't it?
Yeah, and like I know in the army, like, pardon my French, but it'll be like, stop being gay as fuck. But but that's just like army sort of terminology. Well, not army terminology, but
So because it's quite a culture where you need to suppress things, then, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which leads to more problems.
Yeah, and there is like, as I said earlier on, I'm trying to push past my comfort zones with doing these lives, because I'm constantly self-conscious about what people think about me all the time, and that's when when I'm walking about the shops and all that, I'm thinking like, what are they looking at me? Am I wearing the next fashion? I don't do fashion. I'm a tutor, but yeah, no, in the army, I do believe there is a lot of help there, within the army, but it's just about getting to that point of asking for help, which is the biggest problem, I reckon.
That is the biggest problem. That's what I get for people that come to me for support. They've maybe been sitting there for a year watching my stuff, and then they'll reach out after a year, and it's the biggest hurdle to go over, because being able to say, I need somebody to talk to here, and then there's other challenges that come after that, but I think that is the biggest challenge, to be able to be at that place where you do accept that you need a bit of outside support as well.
And there's because obviously there's that very fine line where obviously sadly some people do end up taking their lives, but it's like it seems like it's the simplest task in the world, just to go to your best mate and go, I need help, but it's not. It's like one of the hardest things I had to do, especially, I didn't have to speak to a friend. Well, I did, and then he put me to the doctor, but that was like, I broke down in his office and stuff like that. But after I'd done it, you know what, it was like I felt like I'd just taken like a skyscraper off my shoulders. It was such the sense of relief. It came off, and there's still more to come off, and it is slowly coming off my shoulders, with more people of, not trust, but like a small circle. But I'm trying to open up a little bit more with like my live videos. Obviously this is a bit more professional than mine, but
oh, do you think we're professional?
We're still learning as well, Hugh. I mean, you know, this is new to us. This is new to us, mate. And like I say, we've always got to learn. You know, I've always had, and I'll say it like I always do, I've always had communication issues. So for me, this is quite scary to me, you know, but I love it. I love speaking to people now, and you know, obviously I've got Brooke there to help with a professional view, you know? And it's great. And I've only just met you as well, and I reached out to you on Instagram, and we connected through there, and I believe your work is fantastic, and it is lifting the stigma. You're doing exactly what we're doing, you know. How do you feel kind of doing that on your platform? Sorry, that's all right.
So I'll talk about how it started, kind of thing. So as I said, I left school at a young age. I'm not academical. I write in capital letters, no joining up, nothing. And honestly, even my friend who actually recognised something was wrong with me, that took me aside. He'll back me up with this, but I like, it's like I write with my elbows, like instead of my hands. It's the most scruffiest writing ever. So my uncle has suggested, why don't you try journaling? And I'd seen on Instagram that mind journal come up, and he bought me it, and he sent it, and he said he thinks it looks a little bit cheesy, but it's structured for you. I tried it, doing what I was doing, and I was like, nah, I can't. I don't like writing. I don't like reading. So he said, why don't you try and do a blog? Like, because my uncle's just recovered from having like throat and head cancer. And he said, and he wrote a blog with the stages of it as he was going through, and he's a scientist in the UCL down in London, and he's mad. He tried to push his cancer and stuff like that as much as he could. He's out running all the time. But okay, so I tried a blog, and then that's where like I did my first post, and I kind of didn't really know what I was doing with it. And I did it on Instagram because I felt more secure on Instagram. I feel like I've got my Facebook page, but I feel it's a totally different audience on Instagram. And I felt just a little bit more secure on Instagram than I do on Facebook. And even now, I was going to do live videos on Facebook, but I don't feel comfortable with doing them. like myself.
Well, you're
hosting
doing really well. You're doing really, really well
Aye.
tonight. I know you said you're pushing yourself out your comfort zone, but you're coming across extremely well. You're sharing your story really well. I think people will be drawn to listening to you. I think you've obviously got a lot to share, and just another well done for just starting it, right? Because a lot of the time you can overthink these things and overthink them and then want to start them. Yes, it's nice that you went somewhere where you felt a bit more comfortable, because there is out the comfort zone, but also keeping yourself semi-safe. But well done for just getting out and starting it.
And I don't know if it's a good thing that I've managed to teach myself, but I'm very good at like just stone-faced, like emotionless. I think we'll get onto it, but my medication does that as well. Helps me. Well, it doesn't help me, but it just makes you like emotionless kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, and I'm quite good at just being like that, but inside it's just like a tornado going round and round and round. And I'm like that maybe like 24/7. Sorry.
Would you say your Instagram's been a really big part of your healing, mate? What would you say about that? I mean, because I know this is healing for me as well, you know.
Yeah, I totally agree, and it does. I feel like it's helping me with my healing, because I'm so paranoid and so self-conscious about what people think about me, and like it honestly gives me the fear, like my brain's on fire constantly all the time. It's like maybe 1,000 thoughts in a second kind of thing. It's like always on the go, and that's like I struggle sleeping at night, but I'll obviously touch on that too. But yeah, I feel being able to write down, well, not write down, but blog down, and then people have actually been people that I thought, those people come out of the woodwork that I thought would never be like, or whatever, but they're actually like, well done on doing this. And I've had so many, pardon me, all my videos that I've done, apart from the very first one that's not recorded, all my videos that I've done has been people approaching me. They said that they feel that because of myself, that they would like to speak up a little bit. And it's just stemmed, like yourself, it's just like stemmed and just grown from there. And it's constantly, I've got maybe another 3 or 4 weeks like planned out already. With the
That's
page
fantastic,
It's great to hear that.
we definitely need more people speaking about mental health. I think we've come a long way, but we've still got a long way to go. So it's great that you're speaking about it, and as you say, people that you didn't think would have been interested in it have been interested, and they're obviously taking value from what you're posting as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, as we touched on there, can we speak a wee bit about medication? You know, because I know for the people out there, I talk a lot about it on my mental health project. We kind of share kind of information about medication and how it works for you. Could you kind of touch on that, the experience of what you've had with medication, Hugh?
So, when the doctor first spoke to me, I think the generic start-off point, she explained that that there's a few different types of medication out there for antidepressants, and I think so. I was put forward to the DCMH, what I was talking about earlier on, and so they were helping. So that's the counselling bit, but the medication I feel was making me motionless. But she did a checkup, maybe I think it was like 6 to 7 weeks after I first started. So I started off on sertraline, which I'm still on now. There was some crazy side effects to that when I first started it. I started on 50 milligrams. Like I was actually on my pipe majors course in the army, and like trying to play bagpipes when your hands are jittering is not like it's like quite hard. But see for that you can play fast tunes. But I found and that disappeared. There's a few other ones. I feel I get. I don't know if it's still a side effect or whatever, but it's like I'll wake up in like pools of sweat in the middle of the night. But I don't know if that's just because it's roasting in my room, but I sleep with a fan next to me. But then after the 6 or 7 weeks, I went back in with her, and she obviously I went through her checklist questions, and she said, "Okay, I'm going to up you to 100 milligrams, and see how you are on them." And then the same process happened again. Not as bad. with the side effects. But I felt I was like, because I obviously have to take them daily, I felt I was finding, like, I set myself, right, you've done the biggest step, you spoke to somebody, you've gone to the doctor, so now focus with the medication and make a routine for myself. So like I get up at a certain time. I've fallen down, I've fallen a rut with that quite a number of times, but I always sort of pick myself back up again and sort of refocus. So another, I think it was 4 weeks this time, she seen me next, and then she put me up to 150 milligrams. Just with her, not diagnosis, but her assessment of me, I feel like. And I'm sat still on 150, and I've just had my review. I've changed doctors because I'm in a different camp now in the military. But the doctors sort of just carried me on for another 4 to 6 months on my medication. And so I have possibly still known by some people that are maybe watching, but I like a drink. As a lot of people will know. And it was rife in my family. It's alcoholism in my family was really, really bad. And it's a generation kind of thing. I've talked about that in the videos again. But you're not meant to drink on them, but I have. I like when I've just felt like I know they're not meant, like they're not a gold standard, like the tablets aren't a gold standard. They will fix you. Like your mood is still going to change up and down. But like a lot of the time, I used to drink to fit into the groups. You know what I was saying about I feel like I can't fit into with people. So the old Dutch courage would help me a million times, but then it would just send me the complete opposite direction. I'd be the most annoying, loudest person ever. But medication, and like I even bought one myself. You know those like Sunday to Monday little pop-up tablet cases. I bought one of them because I felt I'd feel like ashamed that I was on them, and then like I'd wake up and I'd like I don't want to take these because I feel like I shouldn't be on them. And like there could be other people out there that like deserve these tablets more than what I do. But I actually posted a thing today that I read, and it's kind of weird that it came up today as well. From doing this podcast, but it was and I've pushed this on my videos that it doesn't matter, like no one's greater or lesser with their mental health than anybody else. It's all uniquely individual, but we're all in it we're all uniquely individually together, if that makes sense. So like there's no one more special than anybody else, but it's all individual. It's case by case in my eyes.
I absolutely agree with that, and it's something that I had kept sharing that message through everything that we've been through in the last couple of months, because a lot of people were coming to me for support and really, really struggling, but there was a lot of people who were saying, I know, but there's people worse off than me, and that might be okay sometimes when we need a wee bit of a shake-up, but that's not okay all the time, because what I always share with people is your situation is the most important situation because it's yours.
Yeah,
and it's not always, because if we're always saying, now sometimes we might just need a wee bit of motivation and we say, right, we just need to focus today, we need to understand and be grateful for what we've got. But if you're always telling yourself that, then what you're actually doing is you're blaming yourself for feeling a way you shouldn't feel, then you suppress, and then that things just get worse. So it's very, very important for us to see that we are all unique, and everybody's story of mental health or struggles is just as important as the next.
Yeah.
And by
100%.
saying a lot of the time other people worse off than me isn't always great for mental health. So it's all about us recognising that we're all individuals and we do all experience it. And I think there's something you said there about the journey kind of being up and down and falling into a rut and then refocusing. And I think that's a very important point to make, isn't it? That the healing journey, or the journey of life, let's just say, is never straightforward. Right? See, if it is, then I'm quite concerned what's happening for you, right? But it is about up, down, round, about, back the way, sideways, forward. And that's just, see, as long as you are committed enough to yourself and your self-healing to just, every time you lose focus a bit, just to refocus. I think
Yeah.
that's the most important point. So I think that's a really good point to touch on, especially for people watching this, because there might be people who might be keeping themselves in a form of self-punishment for maybe getting stuck in a rut or falling down or maybe making bad choices again. So I think that's a really important point that you've made.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, certainly. And can I just touch on a wee bit kind of about the army thing where, you know, us as men as well, speaking out about mental health, we're just told to kind of roll up our sleeves, aren't we? Just to kind of get off it at times. And, you know, well, I felt that way. How did you kind of feel in the army as well? Because it's a lot of ego in there as well, I could imagine, you know,
Yeah.
from guys and, you know.
So I find it's kind of pushing. There's not. I'm not saying there's not that many left in the army, but you've got your, you know, like your old and bold. That doesn't exist. You know, like that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, so I believe that it's like they were obviously always taught just to, not told to bottle up, but they would, you know, just get on with it kind of thing. And you're finding that a lot of these
Yeah.
people, like, not to stereotype, but like when I go home and there's like ex-servicemen, but they're all like really like bad on the drink. They're always in the pub at like 12 o'clock every day, Monday to Sunday. And like, but it's because they never had what like I have and what in this, you know, civilian life, what there is out there, to help. And I believe that, like, not to blame the old and bold, but like it is becoming better within the army, and it's becoming more accepted. I think back in the day there was like, you know, like the best sort of type of infantryman is the you know, like the one that comes from deprived backgrounds, you know, like council estates and stuff like that, because they have like nothing from, and maybe the army's maybe bad for actively recruiting from there, but it's given them a sense of like purpose. It's given them a purpose as well. Like, you know, like I know I had my cadets and stuff like that, but myself, you know, it's given me money in my back pocket. It's given me, you know, like a roof over my head. It's given me a purpose to sort of work towards, and it was something I always enjoyed. I like being outdoors. Um, yeah, I think, as I said, I found there's a lot of people in the army that I didn't think were going to be acceptive of it, and I'm like, all right, okay, maybe it is okay to not be okay. And people have been very, you know, like people, as I said, out the blue are like checking in on me, like they'll give me a text message, or if I'm on my Facebook, and I put something random on, they'll like, or share something, they'll sense that and they'll go, give me a message. And I feel like I'm pretty good at that as well. Like I get this weird, I've said it on a few of mine before, but I can't explain it. But it's like I can feel like atmospheric feelings around me. But even if I'm not even in the same country as this person that I'm talking to, I've sensed something, and I just, like, in my gut, I was just like, I need to message them, and I messaged them, and there's actually been something really wrong with them. And they're like, how did you know? It's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I felt I needed to message you.
Well, I was thinking that, see, when you were talking about being in kind of shopping malls and supermarkets and stuff like that, and feeling that it's quite a kind of, it's maybe like overstimulation, isn't it? I get that as well, right? I get, after being in the supermarket, I'm exhausted because I'm quite hypersensitive to what's going on round about me and different energies and different vibes. And I think that's interesting now that you touch on that and it's quite the traits of being quite empathic as well, being able to connect with other people's emotions and feelings, which can be a great thing at times, but also it can be very difficult because you can pick up on everybody else's stuff and then carry it about and think it's your own, which can be so frustrating.
Like, and that's why I've always like kind of thought I'm a bit of a weirdo, because people like, how can you tell that? I'm like, I don't know. I just do. It just happens.
It's just intuitive, isn't it?
Yeah, and I kind of always think back, going back to what I was saying about my twin brother. Like, I never knew about him, and I was speaking to him when, you know, when I was young. So, and they do say that like twins have that kind of connection, but I don't know if there's something else going on in another dimension somewhere. But I'm I try to be like a big kind of realist to myself and sort of see what's in front of me.
There's
but
a lot more going on than just that, isn't there? There is a lot more than.
There's definitely.
Yep.
But as you're saying there, so in the army, there's people getting better with it, accepting it and helping.
That's great. And how did this lead you to counselling, Hugh? How did you find counselling from obviously your medic and in the army? What kind of pushed you to go and reach out to a counsellor?
So I was recommended by the doctor to the mental health community in department, if you like, the DCMH. And like, it's, again, as I was saying, you know, I get, it's the army, I get told to do something, I do it, kind of thing. And on my occasion personally, it's been, I feel, beneficial. So the tablets were helping with like my mind and being depressed and stuff like this, but the counselling was more for my anxiety and stuff like this, and how to, it was all phone call appointments. So I found that I was because it's just phone calls, he doesn't, like the guy who's speaking, he doesn't know what I'm doing. I'm just like lying in my bed going, yep, yeah, just agreeing with him, because I'm trying to think, I just want this hour to finish as soon as possible because I'm not comfortable. But I don't like talking on the phone. I hate phoning people. I like to be face to face.
Could you not? It was not video call. Was it the voice call?
No, it's just a voice call.
That's quite unusual, isn't it?
Yeah, they were talking about doing like Skype at the start of it, but that just never happened, and then I kind of just never chased it up. But I don't
think it's the best way to be working, because, as you say, the mind can wander as well. But when you've got somebody in front of you on video call, you can see them, you're engaging with them.
Yeah, you're
also, we communicate. What we say is only about 5% of our communication. So, not being able to see somebody, I know my mind would wander if I was just on a voice call.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Not that I'm saying that, James, I wasn't listening to you today, by the way. Not that I'm saying my mind is wandering the day. But if you're on something like that for counselling, I think that would be challenging if it's just a voice call.
Yeah. And like, as you're saying, like when I was with the doctor, I was like, my face was bright red. I was sweating like quite a lot. Like my legs were going, like even what I'm doing now. But just like I was just like in a physical sort of wreck. But all I was doing was sat there talking. But with the doctor. But they've released me from the DCMH last week. They reckon, the one down here anyway, reckon that there's not really, they've given me material and stuff like that to use with my anxiety and nerves and stuff like this. And my I might come across as confident sometimes, but inside, as I said, my head's like not. It's going, like, I hate public speaking. Like if I take lessons in the army, like when I did my courses to get promoted, I'm sitting there and I just get the disco leg and I'm like stuttering left, right, and centre, and I can't like focus, and it just gets worse and worse. I had to like drive my heel into the ground to try and stop my leg from having a wee Kaylee.
And I think that's important for grounding as well. I'm actually sitting with a box under my feet just now because my feet can't touch the floor because I'm only 5'2". So I do that when I'm on my calls as well for grounding. So I actually need to buy myself something proper instead of putting my feet on an Amazon box. But it's very, very important as well when you are doing anything that you're discussing emotions or anything, that you do ground yourself, as you say, kind of keeping your feet firmly on the floor. And my legs were swinging on this chair, so I had to get an Amazon box and put my feet on it. But what I'm interested to ask you is, right, see, you said that they gave you material to use for your anxiety, right? What have you found most helpful?
So I was kind of, I don't know what I'd find. I find breathing and being able to, and being able to, if I'm in a situation that maybe I'm not comfortable with, or not comfortable, but if it's like too much, I like to have that option where I'm in the military. I could be in the middle of a lesson and just suddenly get like a really a bad like sort of panic attack kind of thing. So like I found it that a lot of people have been, like, especially like seniors and stuff, have been accepting of if I need to uplift myself and take myself out away from the crowd and the lesson or whatever I'm in, and just ground myself outside, or just control my breathing. I need 5-10 minutes, and then I'm like sort of back down to earth.
Good. It's good that you know that and you can recognise that, and use it, and it helps you.
Yeah. But there's obviously some situations when, like, I'm not all like I can't leave whatever I'm doing or whatever it is, and I'm just and it just snowballs. It just gets worse and worse and worse, and then whatever I'm doing will like finish. So it's like, right, good. I find
Do you do any physical exercise, Hugh, as well? How do you find that? And in the army when you were doing that with your mental health?
Yeah, I think I've said as well myself that physical health, like getting out and doing fitness and stuff like that, it's absolutely paramount in my eyes to help your mental health. And even when I had a friend that came on one of mine, and he messaged me days before, it's like I can't get any motivation. So I just said, well, put your phone down right now and go out. And he did. He went and got his boots on and went a cycle in the rain for about 45 minutes. But I always say, it doesn't matter what sort of fitness level that you're at. If you can even get out and go for a walk for a good 45 minutes to like an hour, just going down to the shop for 10 minutes and back, I feel like that's not going to benefit you at all. But if you get out, and I'm bad, I'm bad for giving advice, but not listening to my own advice sometimes. But I like, so in the military you do like.
I think we're all guilty.
Yeah. So I feel like you do sort of, well, not group PT, but like you do like because of COVID restrictions, we're all like separated like 4 meters apart because of like people breathing harder and stuff, and we're outside everywhere. But I feel like if you're forced to do it, you might I might wake up in the morning and just like I do not want to get out of my bed. I do not want to face going to work, or not just going to work. I just want to be on my own in my room, in my sort of comfort zone, if you like, in my safe space. I do eventually force myself to go up because my Alexa screams at me because I set alarms on her. But
good motivation.
So I've got my sort of tablet next to me. But like I feel like if I can do it under my own sort of esteem, I enjoy it more, kind of thing. Like I'm not being forced to do it, and it's like I think it's that more. I've had, you could say, like quite a controlled sort of growing up and stuff like that. Like I was always controlled, and I feel like I want to go out of control and do my own thing, kind of thing. But I find more, as I said, I'm more relaxed on my own, so I can go out and run. And I actually feel better for it because I've actually managed to take myself out without being told that I have to do something. As I said about the army, about having to do something, so you do it because you're told it's the way the army works or should work, not all the times. But if I can bring myself to get up and get out and go out, like a run or something like that, or do some like hill sprints or something, I feel I've achieved more. Not just like physically, like it might not be as demanding as some of the other PT that we do, but I've mentally achieved a lot more from it.
Yeah, so there's a sense of pride because you've chosen to do it as well, isn't it?
Yeah, aye, exactly that. Yeah, I've got my tablet next to me. I'm just reading some of the comments.
No, like I say, and you've got loads of support as well. Everybody's been very supportive. We've had a lot of shares about the podcast. So, yeah, like I say, you're doing great work, mate. You should be really proud of yourself. Your Facebook group is fantastic. Your Instagram is fantastic. And I'm really proud of you. I'm really so happy that I've connected with you because I think you're such an amazing person, especially speaking about your mental health,
Thank you very much.
And I think, as I said, I think you've done tremendously well tonight. It's not easy to come on here. It's not easy to come on here and alive. It's not easy to come on here and share your story, and because you've never got a guarantee how people are going to respond to it, don't you? It takes a lot of courage, and you've come on and you've done it really, really well. And I think it's just, as we said earlier on, it's really, really important that we continue to talk about mental health all the time, and people are real about it as well.
It's like, so I was actually thinking about this today for something completely different, but the more, with most humans, the more you do or say something, the more normalised it becomes. So like, obviously raising the stigma about mental health and talking about it all the time, it becomes the norm to talk about it. And I feel like ever since going to that doctor's and into my friend's office, I feel like I can talk to more and more people as time comes on, and as I'm doing my videos and stuff like that. And talking to people that I thought I'd never, as I said, never even think about talking to. And I've had some amazing messages, like honestly I have, from quite high up people in the army as well.
Fantastic. Because there'll be a lot of people will be watching it and will be taking a lot from what you're sharing. A lot of your story will resonate with them. And sometimes just listening to somebody talk about it can be very good for your own healing as well.
Yeah. I feel like, and what was I going to say? No idea. Totally forgot. Like even though like I've got sweat, I'm so nervous as anything. But if before you even we came on the call about 20 minutes beforehand to talk things over. But before that, for about 20 minutes before that, I was just pacing around my room back and forth, and it's not exactly a big room. But
yeah, I'm like that. I'm like that. I get nervous coming on here. I'll be honest with you. Podcasting's new to me, as I spoke to you earlier on, and you know that's nothing to be of me. That's normal. Because it's normal for me as well, so don't worry about that. You know, I'm proud of you, mate. I really am. You're such a hero. You're a Scottish soldier as well.
But I feel it's like a lot of it's about accepting that that's okay. That it's okay. Like we all get nervous. It's like if you don't get nervous, then I believe you're not human. Because
James and I were talking about that today, and I've said as well. I went in and spoke to 400 pupils at a time in a high school. And before it, there's always those nerves, because as you say, we're human, and I would be much more concerned for people that haven't got because I think we're always going to be a bit nervous when we're doing something that's our comfort zone. But I think the most important point is that you've come on and you've done it and you've shared your story.
Exactly.
And the nerves will get lesser and lesser. They'll never disappear because that's just not going to happen. But it wouldn't be as scary the more and more you do it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm finding with, like, when I first did my first video, I was like, but now I've done maybe 6 or 7 or 8, and I'm feeling, I'm getting, like, I'm just improving all the time, like, with myself. And I find, and it's like, not cliche, if you like, but, you know, helping myself is helping others. By, like, my inbox is always, constantly, all day, I'm getting people following me all the time, saying, you know, like, thank you for doing what you're doing and stuff like that, because it's helping me. And I keep in tabs with as much people, but I also know when to take time for myself. Like, if it gets overwhelming, I'll just stop and I'll just put my phone away, and like I'll just like, come away from technology in a field, because I struggle to sleep at night times. It's like I'm still awake, like at like 2, 3 in the morning sometimes, and like sometimes 4 or 5, and I'm up at work for like 7. But like, and it starts off with mental things like, you know, like, why is Pingu's favourite always Aryan when none of them were close? You know, like, just like,
getting the balance right and knowing when to take yourself away is so important.
So I found also on YouTube is Jason Stevenson. I think he's Australian, but he does these like sleep meditations or guided talk throughs, and 10 minutes and I'm out. I'm like out cold. And I have like I sleep all night. It's like I can't sort of rate him like anymore. I think he's brilliant.
Good. He's on my Facebook, so I'll tell him.
Oh, is he? Brilliant.
There you go.
So I know his meditations and stuff are really, really good. I've been using them for about the last 7 years. So his stuff is really, really good. And as you say, it's great for if you do have kind of trouble sleeping as well, to just do something really positive and healing before bedtime as well.
Yeah. So I try and do a thing where, like, if I'm going to be in bed for like 10 or half 10, I try and just come away from electronics for about an hour before. And they do suggest that because of like the blue light kind of thing that comes from
electronic
devices. Of course, but
not everybody does it. So that's another big well done, because the amount of people that come to see me talk about anxiety, and when I say tell me your bedtime routine, they're like, well, what does that get? Right, well, I lie on my phone and I fall asleep, and I'm like, but you're reading other people's stuff on Facebook before you go to sleep. You're taking that into your sleep with you.
And like I find, but like I kind of got like, when it comes to notifications and the wee red dots on my iPhone, I've got mega OCD when I can't have any. So like you get people that will ghost people, like they'll read the message and not reply to you. That is like, that sends me wired. Like it sends me really, like, I'm like, oh, because it takes what, 5 seconds to write, sorry, I'm busy. You know, like.
James and I were talking about that today. I feel as if we've had this conversation. This is all connection here, because we were speaking about that exact thing today, that it's quite rude not to respond to people. And as you say, you can maybe just say something like, I'm busy, I will get back to you. But just not to respond is quite rude, Yeah,
and I find like if like I'll put my phone down on charge and then I just see it light up, and I'm thinking, like, I sit there, I try not to look at it. I'm like, oh no, I have to go and I have to get it off the screen. Like,
put it in do not disturb mode. Sometimes I put my phone in do not disturb mode.
Yeah, I know.
So it doesn't even light. It doesn't even light. I don't even think I've turned my phone off since I've had it for 2 years. I just do not disturb mode sometimes.
I'm guilty of waking up in the morning and looking on my phone, you know. But now what I do is I get up about 6 and I read a book. I'll read a couple of pages out my book instead of looking at my phone. I was just going to say a full book every day. See maybe an hour down the line. Oh no, just a couple of pages, and then I'll have a wee look at my phone, see where the social media is at. Obviously with this, and then can I take it my day from there? Yeah, phones are a nightmare. They are.
Yeah, and we spoke about. We touched on this last week, that the first 20 minutes of getting up is really important in terms of how you're setting up your day. And going on to social media or checking your emails, you're just being pulled into other people's agenda right away. So getting up and reading some
it's like that,
pages from a book, something is really, really good.
Is it like that thing that's on Netflix, the social experiment, is it? It talks about all of that, about how the phones are like, is it? No, the social dilemma, I think it's called.
Right, I don't think
I've seen it, but I've not actually watched it. I've seen it on now.
Yeah, it's meant to be a really, really good and like a really big insight to like, whoa, you don't realize things are happening with your phone and like social media and how it's like designed, like it's crazy. But like for any Joe Blogs, like normal person, it's just it's just Facebook, you know. But it's not. It's target. It's very, very like all the algorithms and all that stuff. It's scary.
Absolutely, like. It's like when you Google something and then you go into Facebook and all the adverts that are coming up is exactly what you Googled, and it's quite scary, actually, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, touching on Facebook, can we speak about your Facebook group, mate? Because it's fantastic and it's all about mental health. Can you tell the viewers about what you're doing on there?
What was that?
Sorry, I won't pass away on camera. So there's
as long as it's no your toast you've burnt, we're all right.
No. So the rooms that we stay in, they all have a buzzer because it's like a dormitory. It's like there's 6 rooms per corridor,
right.
And each corridor's got like buzzers outside in the main alcove, and that's somebody trying to get into the corridor to speak to somebody or something.
So they just nearly gave us a heart attack.
That's woke me up.
I was the same. Jeez, that's all right.
Right in my ear.
Okay.
Right in the earphone.
These things happen when you're live, you know, but it's all good.
Aye.
But yeah,
Oh
so
my
the
goodness.
Facebook,
So yeah.
So going back to the Facebook page that I made, I'm part of loads of like bagpiping groups and army groups and stuff, but I think I'm an admin of 2 groups. I've got my own sort of piping page that I do like for, there's like 4 of us that do weddings and all that, but running my group, I sort of made other, as I was talking about, I take myself away from things if I feel a little bit overwhelmed. So I've made some free close friends, moderators of it. So if I'll just message one that, can you take over kind of bit and just like sort of run it. But yeah, no. So I found with Instagram, as I was saying about the different audiences that I have, a lot of people don't like Facebook, and that's but they've got Instagram, and I think they just don't like seeing what's going on in the world, and especially in this current climate and stuff like that. Like they feel like they just don't like seeing all the drama and all the news and scaremongering, depending on what you believe in. But I was very, very optimistic whether to make a Facebook page. As I said, it wasn't within my comfort zone, and then one day I just felt, more and more people asking, because it's like 2 audiences, so I feel like I'm balancing them both, and I kind of made it as a forum, so like a safe place for people to come, and if they want to vent, they can vent and rant as much as they want. To obviously within the rules, no like targeting people and bullying and stuff. That's another thing. When I was younger, I was quite badly bullied as well. I think that's where my lack of self-confidence came from. But yeah, so I kind of made it, and it was just like I'd post how I was feeling yet again, blogging kind of thing, and then people are kind of latching onto it, if you like, which is good. And a few people have posted on it as well, and people have thanked me again for it. But it's kind of the way it's kind of going with the Instagram was kind of, I thought I'd test it out with the Facebook, and I feel it's like a lot of the same people, but I feel it's like a different vibe. So I've kind of I've kind of backed off if I was going to do a live, because I feel like people that don't have Facebook are missing out on the Instagram and vice versa. So I'm trying to walk before I can run. So I think I was going to stay with the Instagram and let it build up a little bit more. And then
there's a good thing that you can do with Facebook, right? This is what I did years ago when I first started my personal development journey. What I did was I went on to pages that I found people to be inspirational, and I would click the setting to see their posts first. So if I was bored and I was going on for that kind of 5-minute scroll, but when I was ready to come off, I still hadn't even went by inspirational speakers. So you can actually go into people's pages and click to see first, so you get to see all of their posts first. That's a good way to use it, because you're just reading inspiration.
And like as you're saying, you read up and you like read some of your book in the morning. It's that. So as you're saying on your phone, if you do look at your phone, you've instantly got these like good things, these good sort of, instead of reading absolute rubbish, you've got all this what you want to be reading in front of you, even on your phone, which I've not thought about, but so thank you. I'll maybe have a look into that.
No,
I got a fright there when James said he reads a book in the morning. I thought, a book every single day? That's good.
No, a full,
a long library.
no, a full book. Oh my goodness, I do love books, but
not that much.
Sorry, on you go here.
I think I've read one book in my life, and it was when I was in school. And it was called War Dog. It's the exact same storyline as the film War Horse, but it's a dog. And that's like the only...
Okay. I
think his name was Jet, from what I can remember. That's the only thing I can remember. It's the only book I think I've ever read properly. I've tried, but I just don't...
Do you know what?
I don't enjoy it.
A good book for you. I'm reading this book right now by U.L.S. Anderson, and I touched on it on the first kind of podcast we've done. It's called 3 Magic Words. But go out and buy it, mate. It's a really, really, although you don't read books, it's about the conscious and the subconscious, and I've found that it's helped me quite a lot, this book.
Or what about
it just kind of opened up my mind to...
What about Audible? If you sign up to Audible, and do you have the book read to you?
Yeah, and I tried that, but then I'm thinking, like, see, when I hear it, I recognise like some famous person's accent. I'm thinking, then my brain just goes on to the films that they've maybe been in, my brain just goes on a tangent. But so I suppose, yeah, I find the routine that I have, and I feel like having a good
That's it.
routine is quite good, as you both said.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, I normally just put my electronics to the side, and even though I can hear it going off or hear it vibrating, I just ignore it.
Good.
But yeah, so I was going to say,
Good on you, mate. Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah.
I can't kind of mind
Yeah,
what's in my
no,
head.
like I say, and you're an inspiration. No, you're all right. We're free to talk about anything on here. We're lifting the stigma, and you're coming on and sharing your story, like Brooke said earlier on. And I'm really proud of you, mate. From a man to another man, I can't describe how I'm feeling right now. I'm feeling great, and I hope you're feeling great as well for sharing your story
I'm
with me and
feeling
Brooke.
really comfortable with you both. So
Good.
Great, man. That's good. That's good to hear. I love that. It's brilliant.
no, it's like I've known you all my life.
No, fantastic. And
Well, we've had these conversations.
well, do you know
it seems like
what?
we've been talking about the same thing.
I know.
Aye. Sometimes you just connect with people, and that's it. It's you kind of hit it off straight away. And I've been lucky. Me and Brooke met through. Don't know. It was just the spirits, I think. And like we hit it off, and
Same ones I feel.
Now we've got a and we've got a podcast now, and we're speaking to guys like yourself, and we feel very. I feel in my heart, that we're very lucky to be speaking to somebody like you, that's making a difference out there for men and for mental health.
Yeah. So exactly that. So like I know people have said it's like, well, people have said, like I have had, you will have good and bad messages in your inbox. But I've had like a couple say, oh, it's not just men, or it's not just people in the army that have like PTSD. It's like, I know this, but I'm a man and I'm in the army. I can only go off my own experience, and then that just shuts them down.
You're not going to you're not going to have everybody happy, right? And
exactly.
See, if you are, then you've never really stood up for what you believed in. Unfortunately, you're not going to please everybody, and that's something that when you do stand up and start sharing your story, that you really have to get used to. I had my first experience of very, very negative. It was 3 years ago, must have been about 3 years ago. I was 31 at the time, and I'd put a post on, and it was somebody had written underneath it that I had used a celebrity's death to promote my business, right? And I had been in a yoga session and come out feeling all great, and then this thing was written on my Facebook. But someday, a woman I don't even know, and then this man that I don't even know had said, if you read this post, she doesn't promote her business at all. She was actually saying that this was terrible for somebody, like the family, to be left without this person. I can't remember who it was. So people had come on and stuck up for me. Anyway, I panicked and deleted the post at the time. And I remember thinking to myself, Brooke, you need to get used to this. There's going to be times where people are going to say not so nice things, or people are going to read it a totally different way. And it is when you stand up and you put your head above the crowd, there's always going to be people who will not take to you. And that's okay.
Yeah. But for every one negative person, there's always about 5 positive people.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Definitely. I'm sitting here trying to think of any question for yourself.
Listen, no, on you go. Fire away.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to think of some. Try and question your knowledge. But no, there's nothing.
No, that's all right, mate. That's great. We're just chatting away, and it's like a normal chat. And I can only thank you for coming on, and I'm so glad I reached out to you, mate. It really has been a pleasure to have you on the show and speak about your life so in depth and lift.
Those I don't know if I need to go on my phone and look, but I won't. I can't remember, something maybe Real or MSN, something like they've approached me. It's like an app or a Facebook page that they're developing at the moment, and they've approached me as a men's mental health advocate to be. They're going to phone me next week, and it's to sort of maybe possibly be part of their team. So. As we're raising the stigma, we're raising everything, and always keep striving for higher.
We were talking about that today as well.
Yeah. Aye, we were indeed. We were indeed.
Well, maybe you were probably in that conversation somewhere.
My ears were burning.
Yeah, that's it. And, we're trying, again, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to, lift the stigma and just try to get out to, we want to speak to charities, we want to speak to people like yourself. So we're trying to get everybody on this show, in Scotland and down south. We want to speak to everybody everywhere, and get this message out as far as possible, mate,
Well, I'm in, so I'm in North Yorkshire at the moment. This is where I'm based, in North Yorkshire. In Catterick Gas, and I've just seen a comment there from a friend, Heather Mackay. It's Jason Stevenson is the name of the guy, the sleep meditation. If you're listening, she just put a comment there. So, but it's been, it was like, as I said, I was marching up and down, literally, pardon the pun, being in the army, but I was marching up and down the room beforehand. But now I feel, as I said, I'm comfortable. It's been good. It's been a good chat, definitely.
Good.
And again, there'll be other people. There's people that don't know me that's watched this will be thinking, and hopefully if they see that I've been able to do something like how I'm doing for myself, then hopefully then they can do so as well.
Yeah.
Because as we said, it's the hardest step to speak to somebody, but it's the most important.
Taking the first step. Yeah, absolutely, I agree.
Yeah. Is there anybody you want to shout out, mate, or kind of in the army, or friends or family,
There's the guy in the army that sort of grabbed me in the med centre. I'm not going to mention his name, because he's like the unsung hero in the background kind of thing.
People know who he is. People know who he is. Yeah.
If he's watching it, he'll know exactly who it is. Just everybody that's maybe struggling, you're all awesome. I'd like to shout out to everybody. And if anybody really does want to message me after this, feel free. Normally my calls, once I'm done, I'm like, oh, I need it, but I'm feeling sort of the best I've felt doing videos after doing this.
Good. We maybe need to have you back on again in the future as well to give people a bit of an update as well. Yeah,
definitely. Because my journey, as you like, is ongoing at the moment, and hopefully up. But I like to shout out to all the people that are struggling, because you are fabulous, and if you feel that you can take that one step, then take it. This will be shout out.
That's exactly it. That's it. Amazing. No, I totally agree with you. And is there anywhere we can find you on for the viewers out there that don't know where to find you? Can you give us a wee bit about your Facebook, or where we can find you on that?
Yeah, so you can find me on my Instagram. I've got 3 of them, because I've got that piping, that's Sutherland Pipers for Hire. It's like for weddings and stuff like that. Little bit of sales pitch there.
I liked it.
But as I say, I'm going to obviously sell it's Hugh / mental / health / blog. So just Hugh mental health blog. My actual Instagram is Hugh / Donald / Mackay. If anybody wants to, add me on there, and if they, just ping me a message or whatever. My Facebook, it's Tweed D Mackay. Basically, I like tweed, like jackets and waistcoats and stuff like that. And somebody came out with, all right, Tweedy Mackay, so it's just kind of stuck from there. If anybody wants to, feel free to message it's Hugh Mackay Mental Health Forum, I think it is, on the Facebook group. If anybody wants to follow that, and I don't think on a group you can message, but the platform's there if you need to rant, and if there's anybody there that can help, they will. There's people I'm not well known, but I'm known around the world. I've been on travels all around the world with piping and stuff, and I know people everywhere. And there'll always be someone online that will be able to help out, or even just give you a wee nudge saying, come and talk. And if there is any negativity, show me, and I'll not shoot them down, but I'll educate them. We'll call it. Not in a bad way, I'll just put a stop to any negativity.
Yeah, it's not of course you've got. Yeah, it's not what it's about. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Hugh, it's been an absolute pleasure having you tonight, lifting the stigma, myself and Brooke. Again, I'm so proud of you. And guys, reach out to Hugh, because like I say, he'll speak to you, and join his mental health page as well, because it's fantastic, and he's really making a difference. Guys, thank you for lifting the stigma tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure, Brooke. It's great to see you as always.
You too.
No, not a problem. Not a problem. And we'll see you again. We'll see you sometime down the line. And if
Definitely.
Good night and God bless, guys. Thank you.
Good night.
Take it easy now. Good night. Bye now. Bye.
Let's Talk Mental Health podcast is sponsored by Torrance House Interiors, East Kilbride. Concept by you, designed and managed by us. Bespoke luxury kitchens, bathrooms and room interiors. Contact us at info@torrancehouseInteriors.com.